Let's start the topic with the term relativity. As Einstein showed it, there is a relation between the space and the time. It's what added the fourth dimension to the reference mark, to three measurements of space, in what moves the object. So it moves in a space and takes a time in relation with the reference mark. Two observers who are in reference marks of different speeds won't give the same results while studying the movement of this object. So there is not a stationary reference mark. All depends on the conditions of this last, speed, etc. Proposition of general relativity permits to say that space, time, and object are the same thing, and that, consequently, if one withdrew the objects of the universe, the space and the time would disappear too. There would not remain anything. What means that space is the object itself, time is the object itself, and space-time is the object itself also. So, each object represents an own reference mark with four dimensions. These notions of space, time, and space-time are the ones used currently by scientists to direct their observations and experiences, but it doesn't permit to solve some problems put in present physics, as for example the expansion of the universe, the dark energy, etc. In order to solve these problems, it's necessary to deepen this notion while looking for the fundamental notion of space, time, and the one that joins them, the fundamental notion of space-time. This thesis presents the fundamental notions that I propose of space, of time, and of the one that joins them, the fundamental notion of space-time. This new fundamental notion of space-time permits to answer the following questions. How can an energy particle move in space-time while keeping its properties? How does the expansion of the universe made? Identification of the dark energy. Fundamental notion of the Higgs boson. What gives their mass to particles? I have as keywords the fundamental notion of space, of time, the fundamental notion of space-time, moving space-time while keeping its properties, universe expansion, vacuum energy, Higgs boson. Introduction. The most important questions that preoccupy the physicists since this last century are the expansion of the universe, the vacuum energy, and the Higgs boson, and until now, no answer has been given. Why? It's because of the direction that they took to direct their observations and experiences. This direction that came from the concept of the space and time, and so as consequence of space-time that they use. As François Jacob told, the importance of a concept is measured to its operative value, to the role that it plays to direct the observation and the experience. It's for this that this thesis speaks of a new concept of space-time that could redirect the physicists into the good direction and the common sense of observations and experiences in order to advance more forward in the science and the physics. Finally, in what follows, I will expose this new concept as three chapters. The two first contain postulates and definitions of the terms that will be used along this thesis, and the third will contain the explanation of the mystery of the displacement of the expansion universe, as well as the explanation of certain physics phenomena in this new space-time. Energy, matter, information. Energy. The energy is in two different states in the universe. Energy particle, it's the infinitely small of the existence. Matter, who is formed by energy particles. As Einstein signaled it, matter is a large collection of energy particles. Information. We find two sorts of information. Primary information, it's an entity that is. It exists in her heaven. It's not a characteristic of another entity. For example, the energy particle is the primary information. Secondary information. It's a characteristic of the primary information. Example, car equals primary information. Its secondary information, its weight, its height, its speed, and all what can be calculated as relations. We cannot calculate the speed of the car without the existence of the car. That means that the physical relations, mathematics, etc., are dependent of the primary information. That's the energy particle. The following representation schematizes what means the secondary informations are characteristics of the energy particle. The following chapter starts with the fundamental notions of substratum and Thusna, which will brighten gradually till the last page of this thesis. Substratum. What is it? It's a set of elementary cubes. Every elementary cube is materialized by a precise energy potential that is specific to it. Every energy potential represents its own forces field. Where is it? It's the basis on which rests set and in what moves the energy particle. It's everywhere the particle energy passes, in the emptiness, in the sky of our planet, in what moves the clouds, in what we move. The area is also moving in this substratum. All the energy particles move inside. In other words, Einstein's relative space moves in this space constituted of energy cubes, since we said in the summary that in general relativity the object, and so the energy particle, is the relative space itself. To differentiate the two spaces, in what follows, Einstein's space is designated by relative space, and this space composed of energy cubes is designated by substratum. How does it work? Every elementary cube of the substratum represents a precise energy potential, and if an energy particle is in a precise position, that means that its energy potential corresponds to the one of the point of the space where it is. If the energy particle receives or gives out energy, its energy potential increases or decreases according to the case, and it's what drives to a displacement of the particle until a point that represents or supports its new energy potential. Thus, that explains, for example, the displacement of an electron from one level to another in the mode of Bohr, while absorbing or giving out the energy. Thusna. Identification, classification, and definition of the time are primordial to have precise and clearer information on the topic. Two types of time exist in the universe, the TP, primary information, and the TS, secondary information. The primary time. The TP is a primary information. It's a forces field that pass at the same time by all the cubes of the substratum at an absolute maximum speed. Secondary time. It's a secondary information of time that we have by our watches and that's based on the scales of astronomical times that are always bound to the speed of some bodies and some references. In summary, it's Einstein's relative time. To differentiate it from the primary time, in what follows, Einstein's time is designated by relative time or TS, secondary time, and this field of time is designated by Thusna. The relation between space, time, and energy is unbelievably precise and neat. The positioning of the energy particle is done in the elementary cubes of the substratum, and every cube supports only one energy potential that is clean to it. At the apparition of this energy particle, Thusna field undergo a shrinkage corresponding to the energy potential of this apparition position. So the energy particle will have its birth, its position, and its own Thusna at the same time. When the energy potential of the energy particle changes, this last changes forces field in the substratum and moves to another cube that supports its new energy potential. And since the Thusna field shrinks because of the forces field of the energy particle, and that this shrinkage changes according to the energy potential of this last, that will lead to the change of time in where moves this particle. That means, in summary, that the change in the energy potential of the particle makes it displace toward the corresponding Thusna field. Journey in time. Displacement is a journey in time. We travel the whole time into time. We dive in the field of Thusna. Each one of us has a Thusna field that determines it. Every planet, every star, every matter, and all energy particle that exists in the universe dives into Thusna field. Let's take a cube of the substratum. It exists, but it's not active. It's only active when an energy particle appears in it. To release the being of the Thusna field representing this cube instantaneously in the p position that corresponds to it in the substratum, drive into a shrinkage of the time field at corresponding value, therefore, to a precise time field, which means that the existence of space, of time,